Yes, people, we are live. Weekly surgery is back yet again. And I've got the right episode this time, episode 7. But before we get into it, people, let's hit the intro. Yes, people, and welcome back to the surgery. Episode 7. The Albert J TV practice is open. Not even for the full hour today, people, because there is a lot of football to indulge and get into. So I'm not going to keep my brothers too long, but I have to get the boys back again. People, I say, smash the like button if you haven't already. And audio listeners, you are not forgotten. This will go on my IGTV and my Instagram a lot later, and Spotify and Anchor. So, people, let's get into it, man. We've got the brothers back again. Episode 7, people. On target for double figures. It's going nice. We'll get them for the end of the season. Don't worry about that. I'm gonna go first. Who am I gonna go with first? I'm gonna start with the king. The return of King Kesh back to weekly surgery. How's it going, bro? How you keeping, man?
Mate, I'm struggling right now, man. I got a spasm in my right shoulder.
Yeah, you told me.
Giving me a headache, but we move.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. Man has come off the surgery table. He's like he's like the Brian Robson of Croydon. He's made it. But Kesh, now big ups for you coming on. I know you're not feeling 100%, but thank you for coming on. I'm gonna come next to the man who's decided to don, for very good reasons, Mr. RJ Wills, Ryan Williams. Talk to you, brother. What's happening?
Well, we are in surgery right now, and I can't find my scalpel at this precise minute. But we got to make some drastic changes today. But I'm good. I hope you're all doing well.
No, welcome, Kesh and RJ. And last but not least, a bro from Manchester, Solzy, man. How's it going, man? How you keeping, mate?
Yeah, it's been all good. Got to throw a bit of shade at United fans today at work, so that was fun. That was fun. So yeah, it's all good. Well, we better win tomorrow now, innit? So.
Oh God, well, yeah, we'll probably touch on that. We'll probably touch on that very briefly, shall I say? But no, weekly surgery. So it's not going to be a long one, guys. But we're going to start off with Arsenal matters first. Don't want to spend too long on it, only because you guys know what questions are coming up afterwards, and want to get your thoughts and opinions about it. So that's going to be quite important. But yeah, sort of Arsenal transfer windows over, as people know. I've spoken to many people on the platform, on my own channel, and also on other people's channels. But obviously, I haven't spoken to you guys about Arsenal's interesting window, should I say, to say the least. I'm going to kick off with RJ, actually. Yeah, just sort of your general thoughts after the window's now shut.
Well, on one hand, it was nice to see a few people go, players that we needed to get rid of from a very long time. On the other hand, I was disappointed because I felt, me personally, like I said, I've always kind of felt like I don't think we're going to get top four, and that's
Yeah,
just my personal opinion. But because we're in that conversation, I felt this could be a real push. They decided not to try and bring anybody in for whatever reason. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Disappointed, yes, because we didn't try and boost our chances up. On one hand, I do kind of get it. You don't want to just panic buy, and because we've done that so many times, and we just wasted a lot of money. However, this is what we're gonna do, so we'll just have to see how it is, and that's all I really got to say about that. It's put up or shut up for the boys on Arteta. So yeah.
yeah. No, before I play, I'm gonna come. I'll probably bring you. I might bring you back in, but I'm gonna come to Souls. Before I come to you, I said last week that, and I didn't really regret saying it, otherwise I wouldn't have said it, to be honest. But I think if any, like I said, any Arsenal fan or whatever spectrum of the side you sit on in terms of being stupidly positive, extremely negative, positive, negative, whatever way you want to look at it, even I think genuinely Arsenal fans would have been very, if you'd asked them at the start of the window, that Arsenal wouldn't ignore the two American guys. I don't think it's fair on them on Trusty and Matt Turner, that Arsenal wouldn't have done any business even getting loan players in. I said to them, if anyone honestly thought Arsenal would have done that going into the position that they was in at the turn of January, I think they're lying. I generally think they're lying. And I'll say that to anybody. That I thought Arsenal would, at least me personally, would get a couple in, even if it was loans and not permanent. That didn't happen. But yeah, so I'll bring you in, man. What's your thoughts, man? Now that it's all done and dusted until the summer.
To be quite honest, I'm actually quite happy with the way Arsenal have gone about things, because when you hear the quotes, obviously even today, obviously Arteta's had his press conference about the Wolves game, and he's been questioned about the lack of transfers, obviously, from Arsenal, especially in the window, to try and turn a maybe a top four finish into a probably or a highly likely a top four finish, especially if we had gotten, let's say, Vlahovic or that midfield signing that we wanted to go and get. Let's call it Ruben Neves, because that's the one that we've predominantly been number one targeted to. That would have bolstered our position and probably even our odds to finishing top four. That's the disappointing thing. But to be honest with you, I'm quite proud, because they didn't just go from Vlahovic and go, crap, the fan base is having a meltdown. Let's just go and trigger that £75 million release clause and get Isak in, even though the profile was Vlahovic. Now, anyone that's watched football, they know that's two spectrums of strikers. You've got one who's basically a target man, and then you've got an Aubameyang-like. So to go from one target to a completely different profile, for me, would have shown a bit of panic. It would have shown a bit of, what is the plan? Like, what are you actually trying to achieve here? Yeah. But the fact they didn't do that shows me, no, we've got a plan and we're going to stick to it. We're not going to go just buy a player to please the fan base. And to be honest, that's what I've asked for. I've wanted owners, boards, whatever you want to call them, or whoever you want to put that responsibility down to have a backbone, to be like, you know what, we're not here to please the fans. We're here to make sure the club does well. Not let's keep the fan base happy, even if we truly believe that's going to come to the cost of Arsenal doing well. And that's why I'm quite happy in one hand. But on the other hand, I'm quite disappointed. They could have done loans. They could have tried and secured the Arthur loan, for example, even if it is just that, just to try and get a number in midfield. But it's going to be a 50-50, because we could be looking here and going, well, if we had gotten Arthur, if we had gone and got this midfielder, if we had gotten the striker, we'd be in top four. So it's always going to be one of those where if we don't do it, they're going to get absolutely slaughtered. But if we do go and get, let's say, top four, even though we haven't signed anyone, then we've got to praise them equally. Now it's up to Arteta really now, because there's nothing Edu can do. There's nothing Vinay can do. There's nothing Josh can do. It's all
I hope Raul's still not here somewhere.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Someone said it, so it came into my head. I was like, oh shit.
No. Yeah, put it in the comments.
Vinay and like Josh can do at this point. But the thing is, though, the thing is for me, and I've said this, I'll judge them after this summer, because if we get top four and they don't go and back Arteta and they don't go and bolster this squad the way they've promised us in terms of that striker, in terms of that midfielder, and whatever else they decide to do, if they don't bring us those two positions, because they said they're going to be marquee signings, if they don't do it, then they've gone back on their words. So far, they've stuck to their plan. They've stuck to the words they promised us, and that's what I'm going to judge them on. They've said, we'll try and get those summer signings in January, but what they've done is the clear out they wanted to do in summer in terms of getting Chambers out, Kolasinac out, whoever else went out, that was the clear out for the summer, but they've done that in January. So it means there can't be a sell to buy policy. It has to be, we're going to get our targets and there's nothing to stop us. And that's what I'm looking for. And if they don't do that, then I will sit here and completely rinse this project. But up until that point, they've still got my support to a degree, and we'll see what happens.
I think, yeah, no, fair play, man. I think you're being generous by saying happy, though. But
No, I am disappointed, but I'm happy in a way because we've asked for this. We've
trying to
asked for
find
them to have
another.
a plan. Yeah,
I'm trying to find another word for you so that the man them in
yeah,
the chat
yeah.
and the YouTube don't go lose their minds. But look, I know you're not happy. I know that. I'm not. I'm being. I know you're not happy. None of us are happy with what we kind of. I won't say soaring. I won't say what we saw, but maybe the lack of it. And that's not taking anything away against obviously shipping out as many people call the dead wood, or people that are surplus to requirements at the club. Would have liked a little bit more money for them, but I guess that's what happens when you're selling on players that are not where clubs not queuing at the door to buy them, should I say?
Mediocre.
My main man, King Kesh. Hit me with
Something.
it, man. And transfer window's over now. We got to wait till the summer. We still got 17 games, including tomorrow, to see how the season pans out. We have no cup competitions, unfortunately. So there's less games to play, mate. How are you feeling, man, about our club, man?
You know what? Yeah, for me, I'm left very disappointed. But with the explanation that they've given, I'll be a hypocrite if I didn't go and say, you know what, hats off to you lot for doing it the way you are. Because for long, I've always said this club has always co-signed whatever the fan base want. We had a time where it was, okay, we want Sanchez, sign him, which I agree. Sanchez would have been the one to sign and give the new deal to you, but
100%.
we ended up giving it to Ozil because Sanchez went. And look at the way the Ozil thing turned out. Same with the Aubameyang thing. Obviously, I wasn't one of them that wanted Aubameyang to get a new contract, but the mass of the fan base wanted him to get it. And that all happens because the club decided to co-sign what the fan base wants. They feed off what, okay, that's what they want. Let's give them that because that will keep them happy. That will keep them on board. Same with the Nicolas Pepe thing. The fan base wanted us to go and spend a huge chunk of money to set a statement. We went and get Nicolas Pepe, which turned out to be the wrong move. Same thing would have happened with the Thomas Lemar deal because the fan base wanted him. They get excited.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it's about time we don't do what the fan base wants. Obviously, do what's best to elevate the club. And obviously, as a group of people, the backroom staff, the coach, the owner, you go and do what's good, best for the club, not because the fan base wants it. You know what I mean? Because when you do fall for that and you do go down that road, you leave yourself open for a lot of things to go wrong, like we've seen in the past. Obviously, I know what you're saying we should have at least gone and get someone on loan or this, that, whatever. But in terms of who we could have got on loan, would there have been that much of a step up from what we've got? I don't really see it. I know there was rumours that the likes of Jovic from Madrid was available on loan. He wasn't in the end because I think Karim Benzema got injured, so they had to keep him. So I'm sure there was options that they was looking at, like the likes of Arthur Melo, but with the deal that Juventus was trying to present to us, in the long run, it probably arms us than doing more good, because if it's a 2-year deal with the obligation to buy, say for instance he does not work out, you're then left with a situation like you see down at Tottenham where they ended up having to sign Lo Celso, and he's not really a player that's elevating them. And I think they paid, 40 mil, whatever. Juventus wanted 40 mil from him for Arthur Melo. So come the summer now, when you do want to get your actual targets, that's going to, the manager, the coach wants, who sees that it's going to elevate his team, you've then got a situation where you can't get him because you've just spent that bit of the budget on Arthur Melo. Then you leave yourself in a sticky situation because you can't go into the next season. Obviously, we went into this season without a senior midfielder. We've seen how much it's cost us come January, where we was in 2 domestic competitions, and because a team wasn't that good enough when the likes of the AFCON were going on, we bowed out those competitions. You don't want to have the same situation again come January, where maybe, I don't know, the starting 11s, centre mids, not fit, whatever. You have to stick Arthur Melo in there, but he's not putting up any trees for you. You know what I mean? So, in the ideal world, as fans, I'm gonna take myself away from being the people in charge at the club. As fans, you want players. We always want players. You know what I mean? It could be flipping December, we want new players. It could be middle of March, you want new players. You know what I mean? That's just how we are as fans. We like shiny new toys, and that's how it is. But as a club and people who are in charge make the decision to elevate the club and give the club the best platform to go on and do what they need to do and achieve whatever targets, you've got to think different and take the sentiments away and the Arsenal heart or whatever that pumps us and keeps us excited about the club. You've got to do it different. You've got to think outside the box. Obviously, come end of the season, if you're then in the top 4, no one's going to complain. Everyone's going to retract their statements that they gave or whatever. If we don't, there's going to be an underwhelming feeling because we're that close. And if you look around the competition that's there, that's Tottenham, that's Man United, we all know a striker, a clinical striker who's going to score goals, pushes us over that line. It's a shame that we wasn't able to get Dusan, because I think, and I've said it many times, he would have fired us to Champions League. He's that sort of player, and I'm not saying that I don't really rate the likes of Bruno to the magnitude that some fan base do, but I felt he could bring that impact where he comes and he just lifts you. You know what I mean? He would have scored that much goals compared to the likes of Lacazette that shoots us over the line. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and now the players that we've got now are going to have to lift themselves a bit, try and overperform, and get us over the line.
Good facts, man. I think some Arsenal fans may argue the club don't do anything for us.
At times, well, we haven't seen that in years. We haven't seen them actually do something. Apart from when we signed, I think Sanchez was the last signing where I can look at and think he actually done that for the fan base. You know what I mean? He tried to put us on a pedestal. You know what I mean? But obviously, summer, they're saying that's the big one, and I expect it to be the big one, because what you've now, in an ideal world, looking at this, what we've got now, we've given ourselves a massive platform now to go on and get some very good players. The squad's trimmed down now. There's not this excessive amount of wages that players are getting that actually don't deserve it. So there's actually no excuse to not go and strengthen accordingly to make this team a lot more competitive come the summer. It's a fantastic platform that we got right now.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for the comments, man. I mean, when I talk about the fans, and I mentioned this when I was on, I think I was on the Judges TV, and RJ, I had this conversation with you, and you guys would have heard me say it. People don't listen to what you say, because I'm seeing people in the comments, you don't buy players for the fans. I said that's not what I said. That's not what I said. What I said was, when it came to the transfer window, what you want as a fan is to be buoyed by potential people coming into the club to freshen up things for the playing staff and for the fans to get excited. And I use the reference in terms of Ramsey going to Rangers and the fans outside Ibrox losing their heads and getting excited about. I said that's what I'm talking about, giving the fans that lift and that buzz. That's two completely different things. So, sometimes you can't correct everybody in a live stream chat, but I thought I made that clear at the time when I said that to the young gentleman in question. But what could you do? But now, guys, write your opinions about Arsenal. And yeah, like I said, I've spoken to you guys privately, but in terms of the actual platform, my channel or any of your channels or YouTube, we've not really spoke about it. But we kept it kind of brief because we didn't need to go over and over the same ground, because we've done it from the beginning of January. Like, it's almost Valentine's Day, so we need to stop talking at some point about the same thing. It's gone. Like Kesh said, it's the big summer window, but my only reservation has been with many big summer windows in inverted commas. Yeah, they're big summer windows, but the movement in terms of it being big doesn't particularly happen very often, and that's my issue. But we'll see, because we're not just going up against we're not just obviously obviously trim down the squad, and trying to bring in players to obviously incorporate into the team into the coming season. Every fan obviously has their ones that they want in. Listen, I've made it very clear who I want to come in at Arsenal. Kesh might not want him. RJ might not want him. Souls might not want him, but that's who I want. Everyone has their own different feelings. In regards to sort of Pepe, when he was linked and come to Arsenal, I didn't really know anything about him, to be honest with you. But Arsenal fans were clamoring, worshipping. I'd even go as far to say.
I was one of them as well. And you know what that comes down to? That comes down to being starved. We've been starved for so long, and we've lost the likes of the Sanchez, the Ozil.
The plate's bare,
you're looking for that player to come in and be our saving grace again. And when you look at the scouting reports from, say, Bayern Munich, which is a top team, they often get it right with their players as well. And when they tell you, oh, he's a player that needs time on the ball, he needs space, it tells you that we didn't do our due diligence. So as much as you want to get a star-studded player who's ripped up his league or whatever, you still got to do your due diligence. Not just go for any player that looks silky or whatever, because like you've seen, we end up with a Pepe who, I'm not saying he's not got ability. I think he has got ability, but it doesn't suit us. And I don't think his ability is that much great where he's worth 72 million.
No,
and obviously for other reasons, we know that he wasn't actually valued at that price at first. Whatever shady business they done is done in the past now. But you know, like we could have found ourselves in a situation like that again. Because obviously, if you want a player, it's fine wanting a player. It's fine having a player as a target. But if they're not gettable, unless you're paying a hefty fee, which may not actually merit what the player is going to bring to your team, like the Isak. I don't believe Isak's release clause is what he's worth. And obviously, as a fan, I'm thinking, just do it. You know what I mean? But I'm a fan. I don't expect you, the people in charge of transfers and recruitment, to think like me. Because if you think like me, if you think like me,
then we've got problems.
We're gonna be in the red. We're gonna be in the red. We might end up like Bury Town if you think like me, because we're going to spend that money, and these players are not going to perform the way we want to play, and we may end up, not hitting our targets.
Yeah,
obviously in the summer you may have a opportunity to then negotiate. Obviously, it's not a must, because obviously a release clause is release clause. It doesn't go anywhere. But if a player kicks up the fuss in the summer, the club might say, you know what, it's not worth it. We'll take a little 10 mil off there. You may be able to get him. Also, there's other targets as well. It's not that players don't want to come Arsenal. It's just that they may not be willing to get up and jump ship in the middle of January.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yeah, before we finish up, due diligence is very important. I mean, if you listen to what Bayern Munich said about Pepe, that was quite telling, to be honest with you. And it backs up what Kesha just said about people doing their due diligence. Sometimes you might do your due diligence and it end up being wrong. Not every. If you look at the top players, I don't know. Look at how Salah's gone on to do since he was at Chelsea. Yeah. And De Bruyne, it's been remarkable what they've done in their career so far. But no, fair points, guys. But yeah, move on to the next thing. Keen to get you guys' opinions, actually. I'll set the tone, obviously, with this situation and the headlines that with Kurt Zouma at West Ham. I wasn't the first time I became aware of it was I saw a tweet from Katie McCabe. I wonder left-sided player for the Arsenal ladies, and she was fuming. I saw something about Kurt Zouma. I thought, what's going on? And obviously, Twitter, you see that what's trending. Click on it, and I said, "What?" I said, "Let me make this clear. Most of you guys know that I've spoken to me. I'm not an animal person, absolutely not. But having saw what I saw in terms of the video footage, I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I think initially the thing that kind of was even more alarming was the fact that there's probably a possibility this has happened more than once.
Yeah.
Whether if your brother's stupid enough to go and film it and then go and put it out there, and it looked horrendous. It was awful. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, if I'm being honest with you. Subsequently, obviously, the game yesterday night between West Ham and Watford. I don't know what you guys think, so I'm not going to put words into your mouths and people in the chat, but I was flabbergasted when I saw him in the team lineup. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And obviously we've learned Adidas have dropped him, and also he's got a $250,000 fine, and I think West Ham. I think Vitality have kind of said to West
Dropped
Ham,
the sponsorship.
"See you later, sayonara."
I want to dive in on this one still.
Yeah. I'm going to bring you in. So, I know you've got some interesting points in regards to not just obviously. I think the issue is not the fact of whether you think what he did was wrong. I think everybody can condemn that, but Kesh, you're going to give us something slightly a bit more than just the outrage towards Zuma's wrongful actions. By the way, go on, Kesh.
Listen, we can all look at it. We can all see that it's wrong. It's cruelty. It's actually a criminal offense of such that if the police wanted to charge him, they could do, which I think would have been respectfully the right thing to do. Because when I look at the likes of drink driving, you'll get charged for it. Drug driving, you'll get charged for it. Any criminal offense, you'll get charged for it. But for some reason they've decided to overlook it for whatever reason. But in terms of how it's been dealt with, I haven't got a problem with you charging him $250,000. I've got no issue with that. That's nothing. It's not really much. It's nothing.
Yeah.
But when I look at it and I look at the way other things have gone on in the past, whether it's sexism, racism, the outrage, it's not like what I've seen. Like even the outrage for the fellow that plays for Man United and whatever he's done, there wasn't that much outrage for the victim. It was more outrage to cancel the player.
Yeah,
but there wasn't such for the victim. You know what I mean? I didn't see that outrage for the victim. So in society, I think a lot of people pick and choose
what suits them,
what situation.
Yeah.
Even with when you break it down, you look at animals. People pick and choose what animals to protect. If you look at other countries, there's countries that eat cats, they eat dogs. Are they more inhumane than others? Or they're more cruel than others? When you look at it in that sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Now you've got a sponsorship who's now decided that they're going to end their relationship with West Ham over this.
Yeah.
You got Adidas who's now decided they're going to drop the player. But whenever it's a racist situation, they don't go this length. When I look at David Goodwillie as well, was it Motherwell? Whatever, they signed him, and until it was to do with money, they didn't act. It's only when the sponsors and everything saying, "Right, like, we're not gonna tolerate this," they decide, "All right, we're gonna have to release you. You can't play for us." So with the Zuma thing, if it's not to do with money, they don't act. They're only acting because of money. Why does it take for something like a animal to be hurt
as a reference?
For you to set a precedent that this is the totality of how much we're going to charge. We've seen international federations who have been charged by FIFA $50,000 for racism from a game.
Yeah, madness.
They then give them a behind closed door game. But why is the severity doesn't match accordingly to what the offense is? What's $50,000 to a country? Tell me. It's nothing. But you got a football player. Yes, we understand it was cruelty or whatever. But he's getting charged for something that's not even as bad. And I've seen on Twitter where people say racism is just words. This is an animal who's unable to defend itself and all this. So when you look at it that way, it tells you the way society thinks of ethnic minorities. We are the bottom of the barrel.
Totem pole, yeah.
Even when it comes to animals, we are the bottom of the. That's what. Well, I'm not saying on the bottom of the barrel. I'm up there. I'll tell you that for free. But when they look at us very degrading. It's disgraceful that it's had to happen to a cat for people to show outrage and for sponsors to act, clubs to act. It's embarrassing.
No, well said. Well said. I'm going to come to RJ, and the thing is, I've had this conversation with you. I've said, even before I knew any of you guys, right? Listen, like I said, I'm not an animal person, but I've been around animals in terms of ex-partners. I felt like I was with Mrs. Dr. Doolittle after the time I met with the Mrs. and the pets. But I've always said that, you know what? Sometimes I think with some individuals who are pet owners or lovers, I think I think they got more respect for animals than they got human beings. And I've always said that. I've been around people who I understand the love and the adoration for pets. I get it, and I understand why you've been horrified what you saw. I was horrified. I'm not even a pet lover. Archie, come into you, mate. What's your thoughts, and also in terms of David Moyes being quite staunch in his right to play Zuma yesterday?
First of all, I just want to big up Kesh because what he said there was 100% true. The outrage compared to this situation and racism, it shows you where, you know, they care about the minorities, how the lack of care for minority people and animals are. Because I was pretty much going to echo that myself, but you touched on that very well, brother. My issue, and I have a cat, and I love my cat very much.
Yeah.
Say that. I was very, very annoyed when I saw that because I thought to myself, you are a professional footballer. What are you doing? And you even said it, Albert. This might not even be the first time, but this is the first time it's been recorded.
I don't think it was. Yeah.
I don't think it was either. Because the way they're laughing and joking is like it's usual thing.
It was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
It was a circus there, man. And you got the little boy holding up the cat, and then I don't even want to talk about it like that. You know what I mean? I don't want to react to it. But my fact is, you know, I saw earlier that the RSPCA came over, took the cat. It's all right. They should have.
Yeah, it took
you
him.
know,
Yeah.
every punishment that's come to him in terms of fines and, you know, police investigation and that. Yeah, good. But here is another thing. David Moyes. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
How to now? Honestly, now I don't know. We were praising this guy not too long ago. The way he's got West Ham moving and they looking like top 4 contenders this season. Even last season they were fantastic. But to come out and have such a big call to put Zuma back in the team after what has just transpired, it's actually bonkers. You know, and for me personally, I gave him a lot of respect, a lot of admiration for what he's done for West Ham. Yeah. He's lost my respect totally.
I thought it was a poor call. It was a very poor call.
That was a poor call. If you really didn't have any other centre backs, I'd rather just go and grab the kick man or something. Just say, yes, just pay 90 minutes for us, or go get someone from the under 23, because that's not on. And West Ham, and I'm sure there's West Ham fans that were very pissed off at Moyes for that. I mean,
RJ, sorry to come. I'm going to come and bring you back in again. Even some of the songs that I heard were being sung at the stadium yesterday. I don't know what to say. I generally don't.
People are going to start bringing bloody whiskers and all those go-cat and all that.
You never know.
I'm being serious. They probably will. You know, this is going to keep carrying on and escalating. And this
they won't let it, you're right. They won't let it drop. And
it falls back on Moyes because he is responsible for putting this player into the team. As we know, Zuma did wrong, but Moyes put himself in that limelight now. So now it falls back onto him. And look, they've lost sponsorship deal now. So what's my question is, what's West Ham going to do about David Moyes? We know what they're going to do with Zuma. What about David Moyes? Is he going to pay for it or not really?
Right, but the thing is, though,
go ahead.
I don't think West Ham really got a leg to stand on, or they're going to say anything to Moyes, because when you look at the centre backs they've got out and they're in the race for top 4, these clubs are always going to put their business first. Obviously, hindsight's a hell of a thing. They probably didn't think the sponsor's going to pull out and everything like that, which is why they've done it. Some of the reasons. Zuma's one of their best centre backs. They're in a race for top 4. they're not just going to say, you know what, because of the public outrage, we're just going to drop you and risk missing out on 3 points. It was never going to happen. When people are saying it should be,
I don't think it's. Sorry, Kesh, to cut. I'm going to come back in, but I don't think it's so much just in terms of the public outrage. I just think it's in terms of when somebody does something of such, like Ian Wright said, he's a coward, and you basically said you kind of. It's almost like you can do what you've done, but because you're our best player, you're still going to play.
No, you should. No, I'm saying it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that. I'm saying
that's what Moyes must have been. That's how David Moyes must have looked at it, because
he had to.
He had to.
Yeah, but do you not think? Do you not think David Gold and all that? They must have had a conversation before.
Yeah, that definitely would have happened. But I mean, listen, I need to ask the West Ham fans, because they don't exactly like the Gold and Sullivan and Brady. But I mean, I don't know how. I guarantee how that conversation must have went. I
guarantee if the sponsors has told them beforehand, if you play this play, our relationship's over, I don't think they would have played it.
No, yeah.
I don't think they would have.
Timing, yeah. You know what, Kesh? I think that I genuinely think, so I'm going to bring you in a minute. I think if they didn't think West Ham, I'd be shocked if they didn't think that. They've got smart people that work at football clubs to know that there's a possibility this could happen. I actually thought it would have happened a lot sooner, to be honest with you. It happened quickly, but I thought it would happen sooner. But no. So let me bring you in, man. Fire your shots, bro.
You know what? It's quite an interesting one, in my opinion, because I do think it outlines institutional racism. You know, like we've spoken about this in the chat, and the reason why I say that is because when a black man does something, and by the way, I'm not justifying any of their actions. I do think the punishment is justifiable. I'm not saying what happened or the punishments are harsh. It's not that. I just think the way people rain down as soon as an ethnic minority does something, because I can list out alleged names, right, of people who have done crimes, right? And even when you look at some of the reasonings people have given in terms of you're a footballer, you know, you've got this, like you're an influencer, you've got, you know, an image to uphold, you've got to, you know, people look up to you, etc. And by the way, I've met Kurt Zuma in person. I've met him multiple occasions when he was at loan to Stoke, and, you know, a lot of them, even to be fair, I drove past Dele Alli today, and they always come to Manchester City Centre, so they were pretty much, if they're in Everton, Liverpool, Stoke, or in and around that sort of northern area, they tend to come Manchester to shop around. So I've had the privilege to actually speak to him. I've spoken to him for about half an hour, 45 minutes, like a few years ago. A very nice guy. Obviously we don't know what happens in their homes and stuff like that. But the thing is, what I find baffling, right, is the energy is never the same. And that's for me the biggest issue. It's how quickly this has gone from, you know, a player to be the outrage to everyone talking about it, when we go back even a few years ago, is, you know, when we talk about, like, let's say even the Luis Suarez situation, it was a 9-match ban initially, and then when he bit someone, it was a 3-month to 6-month ban when he bit someone. So you're telling me, like, being racist is fine, but then obviously I'm not saying biting is good, but we're just saying, like, this is time and time again where racism is like, oh, do you know what? Yeah, do you know what? You said the N-word. Do you know what? We'll give you a pay rise. Like, I wouldn't fucking be surprised anymore if they were like, you get a bonus for every time you're racist. Like, because it just seems like, how can it be that this and the thing is, this in the last let's talk 4 years, there's more. I don't even want to bring color into this, but there's more people of color who have done crimes like drink driving. Allegedly, Alonso ran someone over whilst he was drunk. Then you've got like Grealish doing stuff. You've got, you know, John Terry and what he did. You've got
Harry Maguire bribing the police officer.
Harry Maguire, So if we're talking about like this image, and and even then, Maguire never got stripped of his captaincy at United. He's still the United captain.
You make a good point about the Maguire thing, because, I mean, looking at that situation from when whatever happening in Greece, and the bribery, and you know who I am, all that kind of talk. The interview with Dan Roan, it just, the way it was sort of done, it's like it wanted to be washed under the carpet as quick as possible. I'm sorry, that's how it came across. It did to
and that's the problem. And I'm not. There's no justifying any of the actions. It's not us saying that
no, of
what
course.
Zuma did was right or nothing like that. But I just think how quickly people come to cancel him in comparison. Like people sympathizing with Maguire, people are sympathizing with Grealish, people are sympathizing even when Kyle Walker by the way, this was like literally weeks into the lockdown when he had his like sex party or whatever it was. People were like, oh, it's fine, man, they're just having a bit of fun. But this is my issue, and I'm not look. It's difficult, obviously, not to have a conversation without saying things are racist. But when things happen this often, where there's direct correlations to crimes and like also people of ethnic minorities being harshly punished in comparison, what conclusion can anyone draw? It's not just footballers it happens to. Obviously, it happens to us in personal lives, or even when you look at big organizations, you're looking at it and you look at their directors. There's a common theme within just every industry, and that's kind of where my issue comes in. It's harsh, it's quick, and it's like, well, we don't really need to do any due diligence.
But it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's inconsistent. All these big corporations and the big brands, it's not consistent. That Black Lives Matter.
And the other thing, like, look at the Ozil situation when that Ozil situation, like, even if we take it away from race, like, even if we look at a religion that's maybe not popular in terms of like Muslims and the things that were going on, that's a human right violation. Forget anything else. That is humans not even being treated like humans. And people are like, yeah, but Ozil shouldn't have said that. I'm like, what the?
There's always that angle they look for the alternative. I'm like, no. Listen, I'm not Mesut Ozil's biggest fan, but listen, this was a serious issue. And RJ, I know you want to come in quickly, but I was gonna say, even with the Jack Grealish thing in the first lockdown, I'm not being funny, guys. He could have killed somebody.
Yeah, precisely.
They'd have been dead.
Precisely. Yeah, precisely.
And I'm sure Kesh, RJ, Souls, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm sure he's not been dropped from any
he went for a nightclub and he wasn't allowed in because he was too drunk. And you're telling me that that's perfectly fine behavior?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's the second time that we've seen publicly that he's too drunk to do something. Yeah. I've not got an issue with Grealish. I'm just saying I just want it.
No, we know that. I'm just saying though. But what happened? What happened with him in the first lockdown? Not being funny. The way you totaled you could have killed somebody, and you still got your sponsorship. I'm sure he's not been dropped, and that's over 18 months ago.
Not been dropped. So that's the thing. That's what I want to see. I want to see if because they set the precedents now. Yeah, I want to see if they're going to apply the same consistency. They're going to be harsh and they're going to act accordingly. And I don't want it to be slow acting. I need to see as soon as something happens, you put your foot down, you say, boom, that's that. You're dropped from this. You're fined this. There shouldn't be no discussions. So when you talk about fines, because you just charge them 250k, when I see a country or whatever federation not controlling or controlling their in-house thing, where their fans are doing this and that, I don't want to see you charging a country 50k because a player compared to a country, that's nothing. You know what I mean? Zuma's paying 250k. A country should be paying $1 million if that's the case. You know what I mean? And none of this, all right, we'll let you off. You just play 2 games behind closed doors, then you're back. No, you that country don't play international football for a very long time.
No, facts.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, 100%. Now, guys, listen. Like I said, when I started this weekly surgery thing, man. Like I said, we're in episode 7 now. Yes, we're Arsenal fans, of course, but the main point of me doing this show is not just to talk about Arsenal, and obviously there's going to be issues that are interlinked with football that I'm very happy and very open to talk about. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I don't really care because, I'm in control of what I do and who I have on and what we talk about. And this is why, for me, doing the weekly surgery is why I wanted to do it with you guys and talk about certain things that do come up. And this was always going to be spoken about if we did this show tonight. And we're going to talk about something else. But big ups to people in the chat that have been watching. I know they're probably getting ready for the football in a bit. We're not going to be much longer. But the last thing, like I said, you guys kind of know what I'm going to talk about, but not really. But I'll give you a bit of context in terms of footballers' responsibility and accountability. All the people on the panel of all different ages when we started getting into football. liking Arsenal, celebrity lifestyle, however way you want to look at it. Big up Sophie and Hybrid Squad. I watched her stream yesterday and she talked about football not being a great time for football. I obviously have to be very careful what we're saying here because obviously there's certain factors and issues that are, you know, under police investigation or being looked into, shall I say, i.e. Avran Grant and Mason Greenwood and what we've seen with Kurt Zuma in the last couple of days. It's not been great, man. It's not been great. But I sort of wanted to ask you, like, from what the first time I remember in terms of footballers and the whole kiss and tell and, you know, things being in the tabloids and the papers. And I'm going way back. I'm showing my age, man. When Lee Bowyer was still playing and there was a kiss and tell way back then. And that was kind of the first time I'm like, whoa, this is kind of serious. Like, what's this? And it's kind of the norm now the last 10, 15 years of the stories you guys see in newspapers and footballers getting themselves into ridiculous situations. And when I say that, I'm not just aiming at, i.e. inverted commas, young footballers. So when I talk about responsibility and accountability, are we looking at the players and individuals themselves? Is it the clubs? Or is it the people that they surround themselves with? I've had this conversation with RJ, maybe Souls at Kesh at certain points with footballers when they're young in particular, earn a lot of money. One thing I kind of look at and what I don't like, and we can look at many different permutations and who to blame, is almost this, how can I put it, guys? This, might say money brings power, man. It's sort of the invincibility, the entitlement, and the too much too soon. I'll give you guys one instance that I remember off the top of my head before I come to RJ. Just sort of your general thoughts about the kind of question or the topic. I don't know if you guys remember a footballer called Marlon King. Ex-Gillingham, in a brilliant Watford side with Ashley Young at the time, where Adi Bruford was manager, came up into the Premier League.
Did you say Marlon Yearwood or King?
Marlon King.
Oh, King. Jamaican.
King was at Gillingham, and he got himself into some stupid scrapes, man. He's talking about license plates and all this kind of stuff. Like, what is going on? And there was a situation that happened. This is quite well known when he was out in, I think was he out in London or Central London? And he's in a night spot and tried to speak to a young lady. Young lady wasn't interested. You know, I think he made it probably quite known that he was a footballer. Still wasn't interested. Do you know who I am? Still not interested. So we turn around and hit her.
Madman.
And the funny thing is, not funny as you know what I mean in the term as it's such, but still found a football club afterwards. I mean, even the situation you mentioned earlier with David Goodwillie, how the club thought that was sensible to sanction that is beyond me.
It's madness.
And I understood the anger, but listen, we could talk about Ched Evans, Adam Johnson, Kesh. There's loads and loads. But so I'm going to come to RJ first. Where does responsibility lie, man? Probably a mixture of all three. But for you, is there one that sticks out more than the other? Because the thing is, it's not just young footballers. It's some of them are old. They do know better. They do know better. So, RJ, give me your thoughts, man. Hit me with it. What's your thoughts, bro?
I think, for me personally, I think it's down to the individual. I think it's down to the player, because this is the thing. Like, you know, you had your role models, people you looked up to when you were younger, regardless. And this is the thing, like, they set a certain model for you. So when you make it, you know, you feel like, okay, you're on top of the world, you're gassed. Cool. But you, even though you didn't ask to be, but you are a role model to some children out there and people in like an academy football that look up to you, you know? So what you do in the media and what you do in your, like, you know, you've got tabloids out there, they're going to sniff and see everything. Right? So this is where I kind of feel like a lot of these young lot need to actually be humble with themselves. I remember two individuals, one called Foden, the other one name I will not be speaking about.
Yeah.
What was it? I think it was international duty,
England
and
game.
they
Yeah. Yeah.
and they called what, two girls back,
Yeah.
and one person got absolutely ridiculed, the other one kind of just got a slap on the wrist. And I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And we're hearing more about that other person going out with Grealish
Yeah.
again. You know what I mean? So for me, I look at it as the player. We can talk about the club. You know, they should set certain standards on players. They should let them know. Listen, like any BS, we're docking your wages. Any embarrassment, you know what I mean? Stuff like that, harsh stuff on them. But for me, it's down to the individual. You are in that space. You know, you should be in control of what you're doing. Yes, we could talk about the money and this,
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
the third. And you can go crazy, of course. Some people just can't
Yeah.
help it, you
Yeah.
know. But seriously, think about your lives. Look how many people, you know, after football have wasted their money. They're
Yeah.
broke.
100%.
They
Well
got
said.
nothing to go back from and
Well
fall back
said.
on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well said.
Like, yo, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. But for me, I'm not gonna take too much time on it. I wanna hear everybody else. But it's just down to the individual and how they carry themselves. But also, quickly, I will say this:
Go on.
your environment is so important.
Yeah.
So if you're rolling with people that you're doing bad things with, and then you got an opportunity, you know what you need to do, regardless.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say on that.
100%. Well said, brother. Well said. So I was gonna come to you, mate. What's your thoughts, man? It's quite a load. It's quite a. It's not a question that's uncommon. It's been flying around. The certain words have been flying around for a number of years. A lot of these guys have got it easy. Souls, I've got to say, I'm not being funny. They don't have to work hard when it comes to women. They don't. You know, it's. You know, they don't have. They don't. They obviously good. They obviously got a talent to be obviously be good at football and the things that come with it. And one of those things is obviously taking eye off the ball and the women's side of it. I don't know. You guys might have seen the John Barnes live stories yesterday, and even he spoke about it playing way back then. He got too carried away with himself. John Barnes is saying that, bro, many moons ago. I'm sure even man like George Best would turn around and say the same thing if he's still alive. Rest in peace, George Best. Yeah. So what's your thoughts, man? It's like I said, it's a loaded. It's quite a common thing that comes up. But what's your sort of take on it, man?
The thing is, right, it's like I understand obviously they're young or even older footballers, whatever age you want to bring them into, you know, and the thing is, like we've all been young. Let's not even put it there. You know, I'm 23. I've probably just gotten to that stage where I've gotten my sort of first proper job, if you want to call it. And you know, I've never, to be fair, like no matter how much I'm earning, this is the most I've ever seen in my own like personal being able to spend it. And yeah, like don't get it twisted. You do want to go out and spend it and be a bit stupid, but or maybe because I'm a bit more responsible or because of my upbringing, I'm a bit different. My stupid spending would be I buy it too many games or something, or I buy, you know, an extra takeout. So I don't know, like, but my stupid spending probably is different to someone else's. But or I might get a designer top that I probably shouldn't have bought because I can't really afford it. But just because you know what I mean. It's just one of those like you might do something stupid, but the problem is right. I hate when people say, "But they're 18." Yeah, you're old enough. I didn't go thinking at 18, let me go rape a girl or let me go do this or I can get whatever I want because I'm 18. Like everyone was 18. The problem is when you don't take self-accountability, you just think you can do what you want and get away with it. The problem is I think it's a society, but I do think it's individual, but I do think it's society as well because we put footballers or not even just footballers, but like celebrities and famous people or rich people on this extreme pedestal. We've made,
Very high,
and it's
very high.
not even just the individual. We've put their money more than anything. It's the money, the fame they can give you. Like, for example, like if you're with a footballer even for a year, maybe 2 years, and they give you, even if they make one tag on social media, you can make a career out of that. And there's no like, and look, I'm not sitting here saying that's what ill intent that women have, but you would think that way sometimes, and yes, some certain women will be with them because of the aura that a footballer or a celebrity has, and the amount of attention they can get, and how many doors they can open for you. So yes, there is that, but there's certain women who just don't give a shit about any of that. and that's obviously the ones they want to try and force themselves on. But then it's about self accountability. It's about understanding. Look, that's not the way I was raised. I wasn't raised to be this way, and I guess maybe because I'm religious, I always think there's always someone watching me. Forget paparazzi for a minute. Like, I've got God watching me, my every move, so I can't really do anything bad. Maybe it's that. But for me, the blame ultimately lies with the individual. Like, I've not forced, or my support for a player hasn't made them go and do the bad things they do, or act in a way that they do. And the whole sort of, I didn't ask to be a role model. But the thing is, if anyone's got let's say younger siblings or younger cousins or anything of that sort of spectrum where
then
you've got younger people in the family, you become a role model regardless if you're 6, 7, 8, whatever. You could be as young as 4, and for example, my little brother probably looked up to me, or my sister who's a little bit older than myself, and we've got an age gap of 3, 4 years. So it's at the age of 4, 5, I became a role model. So it's not, because your little brother's going to look up to you and go, well, he's doing that, so why can't I? So automatically you are somewhat of a role model or an influence on that person. And then if you've got cousins, they're going to be like, yeah, but he does it, Souls does it, so why can't I do it? And that's the same narrative you've got to take when you're a footballer or when you're a celebrity. I work in a corporation, and if I have a responsibility to go to an event on their behalf, I have to act a certain way. Even if I'm in the hotel, even if I'm, commuting to that place, I have a responsibility to uphold an image that corporation has. And if I don't, I should. The thing is, I'll be sacked. That's the draw of it. But what would a footballer? A slap on the wrist, a fine, or something that's not even an inconvenience to them. It's just, so you're charging me a week's wages, right? Okay, fair enough, mate. Yeah, go ahead. And it doesn't really bother them. It's not something that hurts them. That's the problem. It's not a punishment. There is no punishment for footballers or celebrities that really impacts them. Because some of them turn them into documentaries, they turn them into films. They'll come out of, even if they went to prison, it becomes a series. They make a life movie out of them and go, ex-footballer convicted of this. And then there's a Netflix documentary. It's like, well, great. So they've just went to prison to try and rehabilitate themselves, and you've just glorified what they've done. So that's the issue. It's society making them feel the way they do, but then it's also the pedestal that we've put money and fame on that causes them to act the way they do. But then at the same time, for them to just take a bit of accountability would just mean they become better humans. And I think it's that you can't pinpoint it on one thing, but it is a combination of things. But the individual is responsible.
No, well said, man. Like I said, I knew it was a loaded kind of question, but listen. We talk about these things, but we these are meant to be the young men representing, the national team, or to represent. You know what? How can I put it before I bring Kesh in? It's difficult, man, because can I honestly sit here and say if I made it as a pro, would I've not sort of. Don't get me wrong. There's things that the financial side of it allows you to look after your family members and to buy things that you could probably never dream of in terms of buying a house or buying properties like Rashford done for his family. But not many young men or men are built like that, and they will lose their mind. So Kesh, floor is yours. Last but not least, like I said, a loaded question, man. But I know you're gonna come with some good stuff, man. What's your thoughts, man?
I'll share the same statement that Ryan gave. I feel as an individual, you're raised a certain way. I'm not saying everyone or every child is raised a certain way, but I'm sure many kids are raised to be respectful, law-abiding, and have some sort of moral that they kind of follow throughout their life. And as footballers, sometimes they get carried away. I've got friends, and I can speak on them, and I think it's just a thing where they're on such a high pedestal. A lot of them don't know how to handle it.
Very high.
When you're a footballer, so much come to you. Like you can turn up to a club, you don't have to line up. You walk straight through.
Yep.
You got all the limelight on you, all the females looking at you.
Yep. Don't have to work hard, bro. Yep.
It kind of gives you this sense of feeling that you are bigger and better than everyone else. Like, I've seen my friends do it. I've seen friends do it. Like, I've been out with my friend before, and he'll be talking like, "Oh, I got this, I got that," and it's a sort of, I don't know what the word for it. They feel untouchable, shall I say?
Yes.
Untouchable.
Yeah,
I mean,
invincible. Yeah, they do.
and I know we can say, oh, nowadays footballers, guys, to say it as well. I say footballers are giving things way too soon. What about the days when they used to scrub boots and that? But I don't really think it falls down to that, because even back in the day when youth players used to scrub boots, they still go out and do the same thing. So maybe it's a thing from society, us as fans who watch the sport and give these players this pedestal that they're someone special. Because at the end of the day, football's an entertainment. It's like it's a job, but it's paid a lot more than your average job.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it falls down to us as well, and the way we kind of look past certain things that they do, when really we should come down on it. Because if we come down on it, they won't continue to do it, and they will face their punishment. We've seen over the last few weeks how, with obviously I'm not going to say names, but certain young men and people kind of like trying to give them a way out. For instance, oh, you're just a kid, little things like that. And this is why they do what they do, because they know people from their fan base will say, you know what, he's one of ours, give him another chance, little things like that. But it shouldn't be any other different from me or you working for, say, Morrison's, working in IT, whatever. We're all human beings and we should be punished accordingly for whatever we do. But it doesn't seem to be that, because what money does, money pays, I always say it, money pays for inconvenience. If you got the money, you can get yourself out of that inconvenience. And until society trying to change that and look different at the way we kind of handle certain things, it won't change.
No, well said. And you, RJ, make a good point when you just say, like, and Kesh is backed up, and sure, Souls is the same. It is about your individual responsibility, man. Starting from a very, very young age. Yes, you're thrust into the limelight, and listen, bruv, I as long as I've watched football and seen certain TV programs, there are people out there to get you. Not in a good way. Listen, I know for a fact, in terms of when footballers would go out, some women used to set up certain Facebook groups. They would know where the footballers are going. They would know what time they're going to get there. Get to see something. But yeah, they would know what time the footballers are going to get there and target them. And listen, that's up to the individual responsibility. I'm not saying there's a football you can't go and date women. Jesus, of course you can, but there's you know what I mean. There's a hell of a lot of responsibility that comes with it, man. But it's a tough one, man. But guys, appreciate you coming on my weekly surgery. Episode 7, people. The surgery is closed. Big up to the people in the chat that were there. Big up to my esteemed brothers and panel for showing your amazing faces again and talking about some things that, you know what? And like I said, when I have my platform, you talk about it, man. There's certain things. Listen, it's not here to make. It's not for pretty viewing sometimes, man. Things have to be said and spoken about. It's in the public domain. You have a responsibility to report it. No, I'm not Tom Bradbury from ITV News, but there's certain things I will always talk about. So, Kesh, once again, good to see you, brother, man. Where can the people find you, man?
Yeah, you can catch me on Twitter. You can see it there on the screen. It's _KESH _.
No, big up, Kesh, man. People, go and follow, man. If you haven't already, what the blood are you waiting for? Come on, man. Support my brothers, man. RJ Wills, once again, superb again, brother. Where can the people find you, bro?
Well, guys, you can find me on YouTube at Fine with AFC and on Twitter at RJ Wills. You know where I'm at. Thanks again, Albert. Good linking up with my boy Souls and Kesh, as you as well. Big up to everybody.
No, much love, man. And last but not least, Souls, again, another great show, man. Episode 7, that over and done, man. But yeah, great points, man, as usual, man. Where can the people find you, man?
Yeah, literally Gunnar Souls on Twitter. Yeah, no, it's good to get things off your chest and have these conversations just because I think it's good. It's good for it's, you know what, we've had like obviously slightly different viewpoints and things as well. And you know what? it's issues of the modern day,
Yeah.
of the privilege, should we say, as well. But
Mm.
it's nice to talk about it. It's nice to engage in these conversations, but they should be talked about, and it's a good opportunity for us to kind of express ourselves. So yeah, you can find me on Gooner Souls. Obviously, I talk about this sort of stuff and I tweet when I see it, and yeah, that's where you can find me.
Yeah. Big up to all the brothers in the panel, man. People, go and follow and subscribe. We have another appointment with some football's on now, so we're gonna go and watch that. But Arsenal tomorrow, people. Yeah, we'll see you. You'll see me on PG. You see me with PG on same with Arsenal tomorrow at, I think it's after the game anyway. I can't remember the exact time. It's after the game. I know that. But people, smash the like button, like I said. Follow my esteemed guests. That is Albert JTV over and out. Weekly Surgery episode 7 is done. The Albert JTV practice is closed. See you soon, people.